Hi everyone! Today I'm continuing my series on the 9 Enneagram types and the aspects or the techniques that each type can engage in order to be able to increase their level of self-confidence. And today we're talking about Enneagram type 4. So all about that in the next few minutes. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's dive in. So far in my series I've talked about types 1, 3, 5, 6, and 9, and today we're talking about type 4. A disclaimer on my part, something that I've shared in my previous videos, is that lots of the things that I'm sharing here will of course be the most applicable to people with this specific Enneagram type, or people who have this Enneagram type as a wing or in their tri-type. However, because the Enneagram describes a lot of elements that are really fundamentally human, anyone can benefit from these techniques. But of course, they will impact people with a 4 component more. So, what is it with Enneagram 4? What causes them to not be confident when that is the case? Well, one of the main issues or difficulties that Enneagram type 4 has is related to their identity. Enneagram type 4 is part of the heart or the feeling triad, together with types 2 and 3. And this means that their main wound is related to how people perceive them and whether people love them. And like types 2 and 3, they have their own strategy in terms of attracting attention, making sure that they are worthy enough of love. Enneagram 4 is known as the romantic or the individualist, and this means that they have a strong tendency to focus on making sure that who they are and their identity is, let's say, interesting enough, authentic enough, special enough, unique enough in order for people to appreciate that, to love that. And of course, everybody is unique and everybody is different and everybody is special in their own way. But something that Enneagram 4 has a difficulty with is accepting that they don't need to overly rely on that uniqueness, on that special element. Because just by being who they are, a unique human being, they are already unique and they are already worthy of love. But this is something that is quite complicated for them to understand on an emotional level. So what are some things that they can do in order to not obsess so much over this part of their identity? Well, first of all, lots of Enneagram 4 individuals tend to be very much consumed by feeling. They are part of the feeling triad, and in general they tend to be quite intense people and they tend to be quite emotionally reactive. And so something that can be really helpful for Enneagram 4 individuals is to find ways to balance out that feeling and engage with other parts of themselves, especially with their bodies. If we look at the Enneagram circle, Enneagram 4 is in the feeling triad closer to the thinking triad and is quite far away from the gut triad, which also involves bodily elements and the gut, okay? So something that they could really benefit from is to find physical practices that they can engage in on a regular basis in order to more easily connect with and access the intelligence of their gut. This could be sports, this could be yoga, this could be Reiki, this could be hiking, or anything creative, maybe like dancing or gymnastics, something that can enable them to express all that creativity that they have through the wisdom of their bodies. It sounds, like something simple and of course, it's healthy for everyone to do sports, but I would say really there are certain types 4, types 5, that can really, really benefit from this because they are the furthest away from the gut triad. And especially for Enneagram 4, who tend to be very creative people, engaging in physical activity is really helpful and it really has a positive impact on their mental health and their self-confidence. Now, the other perspective that I want to talk about is the fact that Enneagram type 4 integrates to Enneagram type 1. So this means that in times of development and growth, type 4 tends to take on some of the more positive qualities of type 1, the perfectionist or the reformer. So this means that something that they can really benefit from is learning some of the skills that Enneagram 1 has. In particular, things related to organization, efficiency, and getting things done. Type 4s often struggle with their work life or studies and so on because they have a quite strong tendency to procrastinate. Sometimes they get too distracted with their inner world that they forget to do things in the outer world. They get too consumed by their emotions that they might struggle to really externalize their thought process and actually do the things that they need to do. Because if they have a job, if they go to school, to university, they will have things to do, and the world will keep demanding things of them. And they usually, in my observation at least, tend to become quite overwhelmed with the amount of tasks and to-do lists and requests from the world around them. That's why it would be very beneficial for them to learn to develop skills in the area of productivity, organizing their time better, planning and strategizing with respect to what they need to do, maybe even finding other people that can help to hold them accountable, or finding tools that they could use to kind of automate some of their tasks or to delegate tasks to, especially tasks that for them are boring and repetitive and not creative enough. This can kind of, create some pillars for them so that they feel more safe and so that they are not as overwhelmed by all of these requests, all of these tasks, all of these people expecting something from them. So this is definitely a direction that I would recommend type 4 to look into. And then I'm going to connect this with another element, which is transactional analysis. This is something I've talked about in one of my previous videos. Transactional analysis as part of psychology is a theory or a system that talks about lots of different things, but one of the most famous elements of this theory is the drama triangle. The drama triangle represents different roles that people can take in their relationship with each other when they are not particularly balanced. And everybody does this every single day. We all get drawn to this drama triangle and we can all take all of these roles all the time. But the more aware we are of them and the more we work on ourselves, the more likely it is that when we notice ourselves stepping into one of these roles, we can pull back to a more healthy adult version of ourselves. And for Enneagram 4, the role that they tend to be pulled in quite easily and quite often is the victim. So the drama triangle talks about the rescuer, the victim, and the persecutor. I've noticed certain relationships between the Enneagram and the drama triangle. And in particular for type 4, there's a stronger tendency to go to victim rather than to rescuer or to persecutor. So this victim mindset doesn't help anybody, but in particular with Enneagram 4, what it does is it enhances their feelings of nothing's good, people are terrible, I cannot be satisfied with anything, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm helpless, I cannot deal with so many issues that are happening to me, I need to be saved by others. So of course this will decrease their level of self-confidence because they will feel like they do not have the competency or the skills to deal with that. Which is why this framework is so helpful. I think it's helpful to everybody. But for Enneagram 4 in particular, it's helpful to identify when is it that they step into that victim role, and with awareness slowly start to shift into adult. Adult being the more present, mindful version of ourselves that is connected to the moment, is connected to what is going on in our lives, is connected to the people around us, to the situations around us, and also the adult version of ourselves, regardless of our Enneagram type, knows that he or she or they has the resources available to deal with life's challenges, and we don't have to be a victim. Now, I'm not talking about a victim literally. I'm not talking about someone who's being currently abused by someone, physically or mentally or emotionally. I'm talking about victim as a metaphor in those situations where we say, oh, I have so much work to do, I definitely cannot cope with all of this. And then we position ourselves in this mindset of inferiority, like there's something wrong with us, we cannot cope with anything, and we need people to save us from our duties and our responsibilities. That's a big trigger for Enneagram 4, and that's a more complex issue that I would recommend them to work on. Now, sometimes you can do this on your own, sometimes it can be helpful to see a therapist or a coach or both. And of course, you can do a combination of this, that you work on yourself sometimes and you get external support in other situations. Okay, so these are my thoughts on some of the most helpful ideas, tools, and techniques that Enneagram Type 4 individuals can use in order to increase their level of self-confidence. I hope this video was useful to you, and just as a reminder, I offer self-awareness coaching sessions with my background in psychology, psychotherapy, and professional coaching. So if that is interesting to you, check out the link in the description below. It will take you to my website and you can find out more about what I do. And as always, thank you very much for being with me. Thank you very much for watching this video, and see you soon with another video on typology.